Welcome to the last video in section 3, adding and subtracting decimals. Now here we're going to look at some word problems. So to start, it says when adding the numbers 14 and 75 hundredths with 9 and 100th and 16 and 3/10, Bernie forgot to write the decimal in his answer of 4006. Where should it go? Well, there's several possibilities of where the decimal could be placed. It could go at the end of the number to give an answer of 4006. It can go here to give you an answer of 400.6, or here, 40.06, 4.006, and so on. So what can we do without actually having to add the numbers together to figure out where the decimal goes? Well, that's where we can use front-end estimation, as that is helpful for determining the size of the answer. So let's just add the whole number part of each decimal, 14, 9, and 16. Now when I add that together, I get 39. So that means my answer should be around 39. So looking at some of the possible choices, I see that 40.06 is the closest to 39. So now we can say that the decimal should go between the two zeros to get an answer of 40 and 600ths. Now in the second example, it says Sandy had $125.75 in their wallet to go shopping. They spent $45.35 in one store and $76.90 in another store. How much money do they have left? So to figure out how much they have left, we're going to subtract. So let's start by subtracting $45.35 from $125.75. So notice how I've written them vertically with the decimals lined up. So now we can start on the right. 5 take away 5 is 0. 7 take away 3 is 4. Write out my decimal. 5 take away 5 is 0. Now when I go 2 take away 4, I see that I can't do that, so we're going to have to borrow. We'll borrow from the 1 to make that 0. And now this becomes 12. 12 take away 4 is 8. So after the first store, they have $80.40 left. Now they spent another $76.90, so now we'll have to subtract that from $80.40. So now when we do that, we'll get a 0. Now 4 take away 9 we can't do, and when I look to the left of 4, I see a 0. And we can't borrow from 0, but we can borrow from 80. So let's do that to make that 79. And then that 14. Now 14 take away 9 is 5, decimal. 9 take away 6 is 3. Now 7 take away 7 is 0, but we don't need to write that in the beginning. So now we can say that Sandy has $3.50 left. Now in this last example, it says during a road trip, the Raven family traveled 76.4 kilometers on day 1, 136.25 kilometers on day 2, and 95 kilometers on day 3. How far did they travel all together? Well, all together means we will add. Now I'll write out the decimals vertically, ensuring that they are all lined up. Now in the number 95, you don't see a decimal, but it is after the 5, right here. So I'll write that in and fill in my zeros to fill in any empty spaces. So now starting at the right, I'll have 5, then I'll have 6, decimal. Now 6 plus 6 plus 5 is 17, carry the 1. 1 and 7 and 3 and 9 gives me 20, and then 2 plus 1 gives me 3. So that means that they have traveled 307.65 kilometers over the course of the 3 days. Now for part B of this question, it says if their destination is 410.5 kilometers away, estimate how much further they need to drive. So if we use front-end estimation on 410.5 and 307.65, we would just have 410 minus 307. And when you subtract those, you get 103. So that means they need to travel approximately another 103 kilometers to get to their destination. So that concludes this section on adding and subtracting decimals. You can now complete the activities before moving on to the next section.